Hello, thank you so much for being here and joining me on another video. If you're new, welcome. I'm Charmaine, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for being so loyal to the channel. I want to make a quick video about how you stop being scared and gain confidence on a motorcycle. And I'm going to be addressing all kinds of fears a rider can face. Maybe your riding is good, but you just need to work on your cornering, or maybe it's leaning, or maybe you recently had an accident, could be big or small. That can also bring back a lot of fear for any rider. Same thing, I have been there, but I'm not saying I have zero fears currently. Being overconfident on a motorcycle is just as bad, and I'm glad somebody made this comment on a previous video. Go check it out after this. Ego needs to be left at home. On this video, this is about a fear that makes you so sick in your stomach that you do not enjoy your riding at all. When I first mentioned anything about bikes to my dad was when we were on a road trip together, and we saw this guy on a super bike somewhere in Rustenburg, it was a very small town, and I said to him, you know, that will be me one day. And the first thing that he did was look at that buff guy, and then he looked at me, and then he looked at the traffic that day, and he probably did not mean to say that I couldn't do it by laughing it off. But that is just an example of how we can carry other people's insecurities. So years later, when I was facing my goal and facing all these fears, I had to remember that deep down, this is what I wanted to do. And before any other critic at all made me doubt that dream, you know. So you probably just need to flip that switch finally too. So another thing is YouTube and social media is filled with some of the most badass riders out there, and everybody and their grandmother seem to be able to do a wheelie and all these other stunts. And when we see all that, when we're just starting out, we seem to forget that nobody shares that footage where they can barely observe or they can barely stop without stalling. And you know, you're just terrified of other drivers around you. Know that we were all there. No normal person can ride around between all those fast moving cars with people who are protected without their own brain going a little crazy. We all didn't trust other drivers, and you don't fully do, but you at least start to come down and you get to that place of fun and joy and oneness with your bike. So yeah, I think let's normalize the fact that riding wasn't made for the bold and the savage with zero fears. We had our doubts, we had our fears, and we dropped our bikes. We just do not broadcast that part of the process. How you overcome all that anxiety on a motorcycle is through repetition. When you get home after work, grab a helmet, you know, from your house, map out a route, 15 minutes to just go around the block, and you know, wherever you feel the most safe riding on, and just practice there for 7 days and see what happens. If you're somebody who's terrified of traffic, just grab a bike or a friend who's more confident and have them practice with you. I could go into detail about all the kinds of fears, but the solution is the same. Get on the bike and practice. Just like you go to the gym and train your muscles to lift something you never believed you could lift, you can rewire your brain to put in so much resistance that there's nothing to do but master your riding. And you won't be crippled by that fear anymore. Personally, my anxiety would show up when I had to ride like a different bike, or just adjusting to, you know, a new bike, or it could be a bike that I feel I'm too short for. And I tell myself that whatever I'm experiencing is just a way of my brain protecting me. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Whenever we feel all these fears, it's only a bad thing if you allow it to consume you, and to the point where you believe it and don't do nothing at all. Yeah, that's what I have for today's video. Feel free to share how you deal or dealt with your fears in the comment section below. for all the new, returning and aspiring riders out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this helps.